Hello everyone, my name is SiC and welcome to my first ever reaction video. And today is going to be a special one because we're looking at the first ever gameplay trailer for Ready or Not. Now, if you don't know what Ready or Not is, I did make a video about this earlier on my channel. But if you don't know what it is basically a spiritual sequel to SWAT 4. And that gives me cause to be extremely excited because it's been at least 10 years since SWAT 4 came out, and SWAT 4 was the last proper single-player tactical shooter. Now this promises to go back to that time where we get a proper single-player campaign. It's going to be properly tactical in a way that we simply haven't seen in a long time, because well, no publisher wants to touch this kind of game anymore, it seems. I don't know why, because these games have always done well, you know, and it's my favorite genre ever. The original Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, you know, the original one, Operation Flashpoint, Hidden and Dangerous, SWAT 4, obviously, Ground Branch now as well, which is the only other alternative that will have some single-player component at some point as well. But for single-player tactical shooters, which is what I really grew up on, there simply hasn't been anything outside of Arma. And Arma, don't get me wrong, Arma 3 is really cool as well, but it isn't able to do what the original Rainbow Six used to do, or what the original Ghost Recon used to do, or what SWAT 4 has to do, or used to do. And it's something I really miss. I really do. So this morning, when I woke up, and I already knew today was going to be the release of the gameplay trailer, but it got released in the middle of the night for me, so I had no chance to watch it. This morning when I woke up, it was there. I was in a rush to go to work, and I've never been more annoyed at that prospect as in that moment right then, because I wanted to do nothing more than to make this video. But I didn't have time. What I did do, however, is pre-order the game at the supporters tier, or whatever it's called, the supporting level, which is 110 euros. It's quite expensive, and you don't get a whole lot in terms of goodies, but this is something I saw on Facebook in the discussions, people complaining about the amount of money it costs to pre-order that level, right? Now it does come with alpha access in August, beta access obviously sometime in 2020. It does give you some other goodies, but it's pretty light for that price point, and I don't mind, to be honest, because I pointed out on the Facebook comments as well, where if you get 110 euros worth of swag to go along with your pre-order, you're not really supporting anything anymore. You know, the supporting edition is there so that the developers get some extra money in that they can use to develop the game. It's not there for you to get extra goodies. It's there for you to support the development of the game, hence the title Supporters Edition, right? Anyway, like I said, I haven't watched the trailer yet, so I have no idea what I actually just paid 110 euros for, and I might be sorely disappointed, but we are about to find out. So the moment is finally there, what I've been waiting for all day. We're going to start this video, and well, the plan is I'm going to play the whole thing. I will, you know, of course, provide some feedback on things I see, but afterwards I will probably go through the video again, you know, picking out a few moments that I want to talk about that I think are particularly interesting, or something that I don't like as much. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So let's begin. The content within this video is subject to change and improvements. Okay, sure.
Talk to TAC 15. You have compromised authority to make entry on Site 1. How copy?
Oh man, oh, this is awesome already. Those animations are sweet. Right, sound could use a bit of work on the flashbang there. Could be a bit more aggressive. I like the pacing though. And in goes the door. That's awesome. Not many games offer you the option
Void
to kick
Interactive
indoors.
aims to explore what it's like to be an officer in the elite Special Weapons and Tactics Unit, also known as SWAT. Inspired by real-world events, the game is a blend of first-person action and tactical strategy, wrapped in a unique detailed and twisted facsimile of a modern United States. Ready or Not's vision of America is downtrodden, cruel, and corrupt. You're given the difficult task of bringing some semblance of order to a city divided by crime across a single-player story. Team up with friends to take down suspects in a cooperative mode, or battle a rogue movement in PvP. You're placed in the boots of an officer in the city's SWAT, a unit equipped with military hardware, tasked with protection, taking on high-risk situations, and bringing order to chaos. In Ready or Not, you will encounter a wide array of unique characters, all with their own stories that contribute to the narrative thread, from kingpin drug dealers, to beat cops, to school children.
Oh, that is awesome. I really like that they involve children as well, because it is, of course, something you might expect
with
to
law
see.
enforcement, Void Interactive's goal is to create an authentic and accurate tactical experience with Ready or Not. You and your team are able to customize their personnel, gear, and weaponry to appropriately fit each mission's objectives. Armor can be customized to suit your playstyle, and with bullet-mapped interactions, the right selection may be imperative to survival. Where other titles only allow you to kill enemies, Ready or Not attempts to challenge how you handle combat, with a rule-based emphasis on less lethal and safe takedowns.
Gun down! Drop it!
I'm doing what you say.
Yeah, like we're gonna be detained for long.
However, once provoked, the playing field becomes equal.
Lay down!
With an abundance of non-lethal alternatives, such as beanbag shotguns, tasers, and flashbangs, coercing targets into surrendering has never been easier.
That's really cool.
Levels come with situations that require solving. Each scenario is intelligently randomized, including target locations, suspect protection, traps, and more. Provided within the game is a wide array of tools to assist your SWAT team in navigating and securing the environment, as well as apprehending and combating suspects. Players can create their own strategies during the mission planning phase. For example, knock out the power and slip in under the cover of darkness.
What?
Use tactical ladders and door rams to access places beyond your reach. Command marksmen to take shots at your word with the sniper unit. Load up on CS gas and breach rooms in a white haze. Or get behind a tactical shield for a less bullet-prone approach. All options are available to you when choosing a loadout best fit for your team. Every decision is yours to carry into each mission.
So many cool options I see already that I want to talk about and have no time yet. Oh shit. That looks awesome.
Talk reporting. Entry team, you're cleared to make entry at Wendley. Guest entrance.
Use the wand. Check for targets.
Okay, American ready.
That is awesome.
And they all have guns.
What was that?
Ready or Not aims to truly ground the player in its world. Attention has been put into every facet of the player controller, ensuring an immersive tactical first-person experience with an unprecedented level of depth and detail. Players can lean variably in any direction and incrementally change speed on the fly. Entry points like doors can be interacted with in many ways. Players may open them regularly, kick them in, or incrementally swing them open in order to insert a grenade or engage a target.
Very nice.
A stealthy SWAT team may lockpick doors in the way, while a more aggressive unit may use a breaching shotgun to gain access. But be careful. Some suspects may booby-trap doors with alarm systems, explosives, or other
Nice.
objects.
Very cool.
The world of Ready or Not is unforgiving and brutal by nature. It features both open, maneuverable areas and claustrophobic spaces where one wrong move could make all the difference. While players command their own unit of operators, there's always someone higher in the chain of command looking for answers. Report everything to TOC, Tactical Operations Command, the directive unit tracking your progress. Utilizing integrity and patience in your mission will balance the odds of success. Chaos is dictated by the suspects and civilians' unpredictable nature during each mission. Tension and emotions for them will be high, so sometimes plans can go awry. Projectile types and velocity simulation put a spin on the already raised stakes. Bullets will penetrate through surfaces based on thickness, material, and speed.
Oh yeah, that is awesome.
Ready or Not will accommodate a career mode where the player must orchestrate plans with an AI-driven SWAT team under their command. The game also includes a fierce tactical PvP environment, where the Metro SWAT team will be faced against a rogue movement hell-bent on bringing the city to its knees. Void Interactive has aimed to cover all areas of gameplay by offering a fiercely competitive and entertaining set of multiplayer modes. But we will go into more detail at a later date. Void will aim to support the players in as many ways as possible, which includes the ability for you to host your own dedicated servers, or modify
Looks
the game
interesting.
in order to add new weapons, textures, characters, levels, and
Nice.
more.
That's awesome.
Ready or Not is now available for pre-order through Void's website.
Don't tell me the 8 minutes are over. Is it? It is. Shit. Oh man, there's so many things I'd like to talk about. But that looked awesome. Like all the things they were talking about in the feature list. All things I would have loved to see. We got a bunch of different random videos. Yeah, let's go through it again. Let's talk about some of these things.
Authorized authority to make entry on Site 1. How copy?
Switching forward, skipping it here and there a little bit, but hearing that voice on the entry, like that even sounds like the same actor they used in SWAT 4 to do the briefings. I might be wrong, but let's have a listen.
Talk to TAC 15. You have compromised authority to make entry on Site 1. How copy?
Yeah, definitely sounds like him. I listened to the guy a bunch, so... Now here's another thing, like these guys, the entry is a little bit slow, but I actually don't mind that because it's kind of weird to me because they throw in the flashbang, right? So when you throw a flashbang, makes a loud noise, that means you go loud. That means, you know, you need to do a dynamic entry. And these guys go in kind of stealthily after throwing in a grenade, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Of course, I suppose, you know, if anybody had been in the room, they would be stunned by the flashbang, but even then, shock and awe, you know? Very key. Of course, that we have the door kick, which is awesome. Really nice to have in there. Though I wonder if the doors will have a random chance.
Void Interactive.
If they will have a random chance to be harder to kick in. If you have to maybe kick a couple of times to actually get the effect you want. Right, so here we have some of the...
The game is a blend of first-person action,
Let me just...
tactical strategy.
Some of these scenic things they do quite well, I have to say, like the maps and things like that. Very atmospheric, you know, kind of also like how they have the cinematic views like this one. Very nice. And this is something I'm very happy to see as well, is the Opti wand. Really allows you to, you know, peek around corners, under doors, give you the edge. And you can tell that this is co-op right there, because the AI, or like the kind of move like people do, not like AI, I guess. And I wonder about the story as well, because I'm really interested in that, you know, like having an actual story, but also be, you know, to play this in single player and not have to deal with other people, like, yeah. And this right here as well, like, I wonder how much of this will actually be in the game as well. And like, this could be just a cutscene, it might not be reflected in the game. You know, of course, when you're in the game playing and shooting and whatnot, you're not going to have that scenic view of enemies looking around, but I wonder how they are going to use something like this visual style and presentation in the game, in between for the story, for example.
Appropriately fit each mission's objectives. Armor can be customized to suit your playstyle, and with bullet-mapped interactions.
Now, this is also interesting. She's talking about bullet-mapped interactions. Now, I imagine that you have this character with different points that you can click on to add gear, just like in Ground Branch. And that is a great system. I don't know if that's exactly what she's talking about here, but if that is the case, that's really cool, because it works really well, and it gives you complete control of how you look, and it's all serves a function as well, of course. So that would be very interesting. It's pretty exciting.
Action may be imperative to survival, where other titles only allow you to kill enemies.
And that looked cool as well. Like when he was shooting without aiming, bullets kind of go all over the place. Yeah, makes it harder to do that. So happy to see that it's not so easy to hip shoot or point shoot. And we have a little gear wheel here. Let's have a look. So I see several items. You know, obviously we have the grenades, magazines, weapons. We have some actions here as well. Like these three are the same, so I don't know exactly what they do. Maybe you can select individual team members this way. Not sure. Maybe these are placeholders.
Ready or Not attempts to challenge how you handle combat with a rule.
And this, of course, is really cool as well. Like the gradual opening of doors is something I really like.
Gun down, drop it.
I'm doing what you say. Yeah, like we're gonna be detained for long.
And that is also really cool, because that is exactly SWAT 4, man. That is fantastic. You know, these people screaming at each other, like the voice acting needs a little bit of work, I think. It's not quite as cool as SWAT 4 is, but it is a cool look as well, by the way. But yeah, the voice acting, like suspects interacting with you, talking to you, is like, yeah, like we're gonna be held up for long. You know, it's like taunting you, and like there's this interaction with the world that it isn't just purely functional. It isn't just mechanical. It's, you know, something that actually feels like it's alive.
Once provoked, the playing field becomes equal.
Lay down.
With an abundance of non-lethal alternatives, such as beanbag shotguns, tasers, and flashbangs, coercing targets into surrendering has never been easier.
Right.
Levels come with situations that require solving.
Right, so that is something I've really missed in games. Like SWAT 4 is the only game I know that is really focusing on keeping everyone alive, and that is what SWAT is there to do. But if you look at movies, if you look at other games where they are represented, they always come in guns blazing, you know? And it just doesn't make much sense. So it is something that is never really properly explored, except in SWAT 4. SWAT 3 also, for example, was a lot more action-oriented. Not an action game, obviously, but people were a lot quicker to shoot and a lot less eager to surrender to you. So in the end, if you saw someone, most of the time you ended up pulling the trigger, which kind of threw me off in the beginning, because I played SWAT 4 before I played SWAT 3. So I was kind of expecting the SWAT 4 style of arresting people and doing things, and that was not the case, and I got wrecked so many times because I did not want to pull that trigger when I really had to. Anyway, let's continue.
Each scenario is intelligently randomized.
And this is cool as well. And so we have a drone, we can fly it around, that is cool as well. And she's also saying that maps are intelligently randomized. Now, I imagine that is of course not the map layout that is randomized, though that would be pretty cool. I would kill for a game that actually has, like, you know, not complete random generation, because it requires a lot of work to actually make that look good. But a system, for example, like XCOM 2, where they have these pre-made chunks, and the chunks are randomly connected to each other, that could be really interesting. That could be very cool, because I can get a lot of hours out of this, don't get me wrong, but it's never going to be as many hours as Arma, for example, because Arma has a map that is so huge, that it's really hard to feel like you've been you've seen this place before, even if you have, you know, because the scenarios will be different, The missions you're playing for, are different. So you can get a lot of mileage out of the same place. And in a game like SWAT 4, at some point you know all the maps. It's not going to change anymore. So, the people are randomly placed throughout the map, and the suspects are placed randomly, the hostages are placed randomly, traps are placed randomly. All of that changes the way a map plays, but in the end it's still kind of the same map, Anyway, let's continue. She's talking about that, by the way, like the random placement of hostages, suspects, traps, and so on.
Including target locations,
so I'm very happy to see that.
Suspect protection, traps, and more.
And more. I wonder what the more is.
Within the game is a wide array of tools
and this was also really exciting. I saw the door wedge. This is something I love in SWAT 4, man. It is, it is one of my favorite things. I always take the door wedges in SWAT 4 because they really allow you to control the map, like the flow of the map. You can seal off entire sections, make sure your rear is secure, where otherwise making noise might lead to suspects coming at you from your rear, like opening a door that you've passed. And, your team is supposed to watch all the angles, but maybe things get hectic, you lose control, things are chaotic, and things go belly up. So having the door wedges there is a really useful way of making sure that you don't get overwhelmed by all the angles that you need to watch.
Assist your SWAT team.
And of course now we have the lockpicking, which is really cool.
As well as apprehending and combating suspects.
I like this as well, like the suspect shooting at the floor, like he's incapacitated, he still wants to shoot, he doesn't know where he's shooting.
Knock out the power.
And that is really exciting. Knocking out the power in a map and this. Alright, let's go back. Let's go back for a moment. This is goddamn exciting. Really, it really is. Because this allows you so much freedom. Like I imagine having a big building, windows everywhere, and you could pick any one of them to go in. You could go up to the roof, you could go into any window, you can go through the bottom floor. It is really, really damn cool. Now, I always wanted a game, like a close quarters combat game that had ladders like this, and now this is maybe a bit of a pipe dream. Maybe this is something to look at in the future. I was kind of thinking for myself, like if I ever made a game like this, I would kind of also maybe want to have like these vehicles with the ladders on top, where you can drive the vehicle up to a building and the ladder goes out and that's how you get in. It's a bit of a pipe dream, I know, but it would have been really cool.
Ladders and door rams to access places beyond your reach.
It's really cool.
Command marksmen to take shots at your word with the sniper unit.
And then you have the sniper unit at the back as well. Exactly, again, like SWAT 4. It's not something you may want to use all the time, because of course you have to get as many people out alive as you can, but it is an option for you to have there. Now I wonder, let's go back just a little bit.
Use tactical ladders and door rams to access places beyond your reach. Command marksmen to take shots at your word with the sniper unit.
Right, so they don't talk about placing a sniper unit somewhere. Now that would be really cool to me as well, because SWAT 4 has pre-positioned snipers, right? And you don't have any influence on them. You can control them, you can go into their view, you can shoot as them, or you can give them the command to shoot, I think. I'm not entirely sure. But you cannot place them. And it would be cool if you could actually go out into a planner, into a briefing, where you can say, I want a sniper here, I want a sniper there. And yeah, that would be really cool to have, I think.
Load up on CS gas and breach rooms in a white haze. Or get behind a tactical shield for a less bullet.
I wonder what this effect is. Clearly they're affected by something here, but I don't know what.
All options are available to you when choosing a loadout best fit for your team.
You have failed the mission. Look at that.
Every decision is yours to carry into each mission.
They shot someone they weren't supposed to shoot. Now, the map design here is really cool though. And this, if every mission opens like this, like with this little intro where you drive up, would be cool if you can skip it, but it is so atmospheric. I imagine if you fail a mission over and over again, having to sit through that every time gets a little bit old after a while.
Talk
But here's another thing. And oh my god.
To make entry at
Hey.
Wembley.
I noticed something. These are all players. This is a co-op scenario.
Talk.
Because look, it's Easy Street from the SWAT 4 mod. This is the guy that worked on Elite Force for SWAT 4. And he is the guy that added traps back into the game because they were cut before. And he made a lot of adjustments to the gameplay to make it more realistic. And SWAT 4 is now such a better game than it was before, thanks to Easy Street. And he got in touch with these guys, or they got into touch with him, I don't know exactly. But he's now working on this game with them, and I'm pretty sure he has some influence on some of these features, like the traps, you know, and probably also how weaponry or gear and equipment interact with people. For example, in Elite Force in the mod, it is possible for people to die when you shoot them in the head with a beanbag, for example. Or if you taser a drug addict or an old person, they might go into cardiac arrest because of the electrical shock, overloading their hearts or whatever. I don't know the entire medical thing behind that, but you know, these are all things you have to take into account. And I really hope that he is going to take all of those things and is going to bring them forward into Ready or Not as well, because that would be a wet dream to have like all the things that the Elite Force mod has in SWAT 4 right now, to have that in Ready or Not. It's just oh man, so good. So this is co-op.
Clear to make entry at Wembley. Guest entrance.
They're really cool. And here's another thing that I noticed. Look at the colors on these guys' backs, right? So clearly we have red team, we have a yellow team, we have a blue team. So you can divide that up into different teams now. And I'm wondering right now, what exactly is going to be the AI limit of the people that are going to follow you? If it's going to be like SWAT 4, where you have 4 people, or if you can have multiple teams on a map. I don't know. It would be really cool to have something like that as well, though. Like the original Rainbow Six and Rogue Spear and Raven Shield, they allowed up to 9 people, I think. 12 maybe? Not entirely sure. Anyway, you could make 4 teams and you could have them, you know, give them orders throughout the map and stuff like that. It would be really cool to have that in a game again. I'm pretty sure that Ready or Not is not going to have the planning mode from Rainbow Six, but man, a guy can dream, right? It would be really cool to have like a large map with multiple teams and you control where they go in a, I don't know, could be a pretty basic fashion. If you could do it like Door Kickers or something. Door Kickers has a pretty robust planning tool. It's very easy to use, but you can do a lot of cool things with it. And I'm imagining something like that with multiple teams in a game like Ready or Not right now, and it is glorious. Again, it's probably not going to happen, but man, a guy can dream, right? So far though, this is looking really cool. Really, really cool.
Check for targets.
And I like that voiceover.
Okay, air gun ready.
Now this is a little bit grainy, but that's fine.
And they all have guns.
It makes sense, actually, to have a grainy view. I still wonder what that is. Like, that has to be like a multiple kind of flashbang thingy or whatever.
Ready or Not aims to truly ground the player in its world. Attention has been put into every facet of the player controller, ensuring an immersive tactical first.
It is pretty cool as well, like the ragdolls,
an unprecedented level of depth and detail.
the checking of the magazine to see if ammo is left, because as you can clearly tell, the HUD is very minimalistic. You have a command in the bottom corner. On the right hand side there, you have the compass on the top to call out targets. That's about it. Which is really awesome.
Change speed on the fly. Entry points like doors can be interacted with in many ways. Players may open them regularly, kick them in, or incrementally swing them.
And this sounds like a minor thing maybe, but in a tactical shooter in close quarters combat, doors are everything.
Team may lockpick doors in the way, while a more aggressive unit may use a breaching shotgun to gain access. But be careful. Some suspects may booby-trap doors with alarm systems.
Oh, you can even see the little wire. I didn't notice that wire before, but this is cool.
The world of Ready or Not is unforgiving and brutal by nature. It features both open, maneuverable areas and claustrophobic spaces where one wrong move could make all the difference. While players command their own unit of operators, there's always someone higher in the chain of command looking for answers. Report.
Right. Anyway, let's talk about that for a moment, because all right, let's get back a moment where you have
Ready or not is
this woman. So of course, you know, in SWAT 4 we had people in the map that were wounded and stuff like that, and it wasn't very graphic. This game is a lot more graphic, it seems. Also, from the preview trailer, the teaser trailer that they added, I don't know, about a year ago now, I'm not entirely sure, it's been a while. But that trailer really focused on gritty, dark stuff. You know, human trafficking. There was a dead child in the trailer. You know, there was a guy choking to death on his own blood that got shot. I'm guessing a suspect. It was dark, it was brutal, and it was absolutely amazing. I wanted to see more of that in this trailer. There's a little bit of that. I'm guessing a lot of it is still very work in progress. And of course the teaser trailer was just that, and it was kind of like a show with intent, and not so much a show of what was already there. And this is more like, this is what's here already. You can see the gameplay. And there's a start, but so far what I've seen, it's pretty much on par with SWAT 4, except there's a little bit more blood. I really hope they expand on that more. Of course you have the settings with the dead children, like the scenarios and stuff that where they can tell a really dark story. What I'm really hoping for though is brutal, gory, sorry, that makes me sound really sick. Gory kills, both in victims as well as suspects when you shoot them. Not just when you encounter people on the map where they're kind of messed up from before and you encounter them that way. No, I want to see suspects choking to death, brutal, basically brutal deaths. And again, that sounds sick. That really makes me sound like a bad person. It's not because I get a kick out of it, but it's because I think that has always been something that games can really improve on, right? Red Orchestra 2, Heroes of Stalingrad, was one such example, and I'm going to keep that short because I can talk about that for a long time, but Red Orchestra 2 was amazing. The first time I played it, the soundscape was really cool. You could hear people walk on the floor above you, guns echoing extra indoors, you know, you had the reverb in there, but then you also had the death screams. And the death screams were absolutely amazing because they were convincing. They were really well acted, they were long, and they made you feel bad for shooting people, right? And this is a war game. You're shooting a lot of people. It's kind of the goal of the game, right? Is to shoot people. So to have a game that focuses around shooting people, making you feel bad about doing that, is kind of a ballsy move, but it was to great effect. I remember distinctly going on a killing spree. I had my bolt-action rifle. I was in a close quarter, like I was in a train station. It was a very cramped building. I only had 5 bullets in the rifle. After every shot, you have to work the bolt to get the cartridge out and to load in the new one. And I was in there, surrounded by Germans, right? And I killed 5 guys in a row. Then I was empty. I saw a 6th guy. I had to charge, and I stabbed him with my bayonet. And I was like, ha! You know, I was like, that's a kill streak right there. I was doing great. I was on point. I was just, you know, in any other FPS game, you would kind of pat yourself on the back for that, you know, because that is a good performance. And then the last guy that I stabbed with the bayonet, he was slumped up against the wall. He was kind of like, it was a ragdoll. He wasn't animated, but his hand was kind of in his lap, and he was crying for his mother in German. It was all in German, but I understood. You know, and man, I felt terrible. You know, it wasn't real. I knew it wasn't real, but I felt bad because it wasn't just a character anymore. He sounded real. He sounded like a person, and I killed that person, and he was crying. He was in fear. He was in pain, and it made me think about what we were doing. You know, and I thought about things like that before as well, but that really drove it home. And Red Orchestra 2 does an amazing job of that, and that is a game that really focuses on shooting people. Now, here is a game, Ready or Not, that is really about not shooting people, right? So you would think maybe it's a minor deal, but I think it should be a big deal, because you're not supposed to shoot anyone, and the fact that you have shot someone kind of means you failed, right? You didn't control the situation, it was too chaotic, someone died that should have lived. And I think that should do more than just subtract some points from your score, right? It should make you feel bad, it should make you want to do better, because I think people can relate to the characters on the screen if they are portrayed well enough, if they are animated well enough, if they are voice acted well enough, if the gore is convincing and not over the top. You can really feel for these people. And since this is a game about rescuing people, shooting someone and having to witness a brutal death, that's kind of shocking. You know, and it can be very shocking, and it should be very shocking, because it's not supposed to happen. Especially to the victims, of course, that's really bad. Yeah, of course, and again, the teaser trailer showed a dead child. I don't know if you can encounter that in the game, but I think yes, because it kind of mentioned it in this trailer as well. And that is shocking. Now I wonder where they will go, if they will show the blood on the child, if they will... and I'm guessing if there are dead children on a map, they're not going to be shot during gameplay. I think you're going to encounter them, and that's it. Because otherwise they might get into a lot of trouble. Even for including that children, you might get into a lot of trouble, probably. But I think it's a very cool move for them to do so. Because, as I mentioned earlier in the video as well, that is something that police officers do encounter. You know, it's a sad fact of life that people do kill children and other people in brutal ways. And yes, this is a game, it's supposed to be fun, but again, it's about saving people, so I don't know, it's kind of like a fine line to be trodden there, I guess. But for me personally, I would love it if they would go all out on that experience, you know, making you feel bad about shooting someone. I think we could do a lot more of that in video games. Anyway, I've talked enough, let's continue.
And brutal by nature. It features both open, maneuverable areas.
And that's cool too, like the open maps, not straightforward, multiple paths.
While players command their own unit of operators, there's always someone higher in the chain of command looking for answers. Report everything to TOC.
And this is a lot of blood. And I think this is like after you shot someone. And you can see the bullet marks and blood and stuff. It's really cool.
Will balance the odds of success. Chaos is dictated by the suspects and civilians' unpredictable nature during each mission. Tension and emotions for them will be high.
And that is cool too.
Sometimes,
because Elite Force, the mod, has different kinds of characters for the suspects. You know, you start off with low-level robbers, people that were holding up a liquor store and the robbery went wrong. And now they have to deal with it, and they were not prepared for it. They just walked in desperate with a gun, and now they're stuck in the situation that they really don't want to be in. And then later on in the game, you get professionals. They got body armor, they got gas masks, they got proper weaponry, they are trained, they are prepared, they are fanatical sometimes, where they really don't care if they die, and you have to really work hard to overwhelm them with C2 explosions. You know, the explosions from breaching doors, flashbangs, beating them up, tasering them, pepper spraying them, so on, just to get them to surrender. And it sounds like this game will have that as well. And again, maybe that's an influence of Easy Street on this game. I don't know, but I'm really happy about that.
plans can go awry.
And again, I really like that we see the bullet
Projectile
marks
types and velocity
on these people.
simulation put a spin on the already raised stakes.
And this is cool
Bullets will
too, because
penetrate through surfaces based on thickness, material, and speed.
see, here's the thing as well about bullet penetration. In every tactical shooter, that's a great thing, right? In here, it kind of makes you not want to shoot again, because shooting people is not the goal of the game. You have to rescue them, they have to stay alive. So bullet penetration, if you pull the trigger and you miss, it might actually end up that you kill a suspect on the other side of a wall. But that suspect had no chance of surrendering himself, so technically that would, in SWAT 4, that means that, you know, that would be a loss. That would be a deduction in points for that. You would be punished for it. And in the case of shooting a civilian, well, that's completely fucked up, isn't it? So yeah, really cool to see that in there, but it's going to make things very tricky. It makes you really not want to pull the trigger all too much, because if you miss, who knows what the consequences can be, right?
Ready or Not will accommodate a career mode, where the player must orchestrate plans with an AI-driven SWAT team under their command.
The
The
career
game
mode,
also
man.
includes a
Super
fierce
excited for
tactical
that.
PvP environment, where the Metro SWAT team will be faced
Now the
against a
PvP,
rogue movement.
I'm kind of
hell-bent
open
on
on.
bringing
It's
the
nice to have it there, I guess, but
Void Interactive
I don't
has
really
aimed to
need
cover
it.
all areas of
There are
gameplay,
other games that
offering a
probably will do it
fiercely
better.
competitive and
And
entertaining
what is
set of
really selling this game to me
but we
is
will
the
go into
co-op,
more detail at a
but
later date.
most importantly
Void will
is
aim
the
to
single
support the
player
players in
component.
as many ways as possible,
Co-op is nice, but
which
people are
includes the
unpredictable,
ability for you
and
to
I don't
host your
always
own dedicated
like dealing
servers,
with them.
or modify the game in order to add new weapons, textures, characters, levels, and more.
Yeah.
Ready or Not is now available for pre-order through Void's
Anyway.
website.
We're at the end of the trailer. Once again, I've talked about a lot of different things, so I think it's time to put an end to this video, but please let me know what you guys think about all of this, and perhaps also my opinions on this game in the comments below. And I'll see you guys for whatever video I do next. And I will talk some more about Ready or Not. Again, I have got access to the alpha in August because I pre-ordered the supporter edition. I don't know, it's probably going to have an NDA where I'm not allowed to talk about it whatsoever. Maybe it will not have that, and I will be able to make videos, in which case I will most definitely be doing that. But before that happens, I will probably make a few more videos talking about features, my hopes and wishes for this game, and so on. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and a comment below, and consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video and want to see more. And I'll see you guys for whatever video I do next.